Welcome back, my friends. It's been a couple weeks since I posted a new video. I've been extremely busy over the last couple weeks framing a chicken coop, working, building. So I've been pretty busy over the last couple weeks, but today I wanted to take an opportunity to look back on the Lufkin Gen 2. So as you all may know by now, back in late 2021, around October, November-ish, Lufkin came out with their second generation of the Nite. The Nite is, it's been my go-to ever since the original came out, but there's been some issues with the original version that they wanted to address in the second version. And I've been using both of these. These are the two that I've been using over the last, basically since the end of November. So pretty much the last 6 months. I've been using these about an equal amount of time. I've been trying to actually use this one more than this one just to see, kind of how that would hold up. But, there have been durability issues with the original generation of the Nite. So today we are looking back and we are going to see how these two tape measures held up over the last 6 months. All right, so real quick, I do want to go over the differences of these two tape measures. I did that in a prior video, which I will put a card up here if you want to go check out the prior video. But I'm going to run down the differences really quick. I mean, obviously they look the same. So the big difference is this tape measure, the Gen 2, they have an all new redesigned belt clip. The markings, which a lot of people did not like, they address. So if you look at the 1 foot mark on this one, on the second gen versus the first gen, you got to get used to that, where the 1.5 inch mark is where that separates. And a lot of times people would get confused and think that's where the, that's either a foot and get their measurements about 1/2 inch off. And if you see on the new version, it doesn't have that. It still has the same markings all the way through, but it does have, it shows you that you are at 1 foot. And then the 16 inch mark for framing your studs, it's not collared in, but it's boxed in. If you see on the prior one, it's collared in, which that never gave me a problem. And I'll be truthful with you, that did give me problems in the beginning, but once I started using this tape measure a lot, it didn't give me a whole lot of problems. Another big issue with this tape measure was the belt clip. It was really hard, especially when it was new. It was hard to clip on. You couldn't clip it onto anything. So what you had to do was you had to kind of like bend it out. Because there was this lip right here, and it would almost always prevent you from being able to clip this onto anything. It was just a hassle to try to clip that onto anything. Some other things that they did is they actually made the blade wider. So the blade now is about as wide as the Fat Max, maybe not quite as wide, but it's really close to that. Another thing that they changed is they put this plastic coating over the first 6.5 inches, and that was in direct response to a lot of people having issues with the blade durability in the first 2 to 6 inches. A lot of times you would get issues where your blade would bend and snap right there, so they reinforced those first couple inches. Now another thing that they also changed is the size of the hook. So if you see the hook on the Gen 2, compare it to the hook on the first gen, you can see there's a massive difference. The hook on the G2 is wider, but it's more narrow, as you can see. And if you look on the original version, you see how far that stuck out. It stuck out very proud. So a lot of times what would happen is you go to put this away, you would get stuff caught on your hook. And also if you're retracting it from kind of far away and the blade, bends or something, a lot of times that would get hooked on something and it would cause you to break your blade. So they addressed that as well, to where that's a little bit smaller profile as far as how long the blade sticks out. Now, another key difference what you'll see is the size. So with the thicker and wider blade, they had to make a larger case. So if you see down here, this measures 3 1/8 from front to back, and it's also wider this way. This one here measures 3 inches front to back, and if we look at them side by side, you can tell the Gen 2 is a good bit wider than the Gen 1. Now that is something that I did like about the first generation. I like the size. The size of it was really nice. Allows you to really hold the blade in your hand, and definitely if you have smaller hands, you can control the blade a lot better. With these larger tape measures, you kind of got to scoot your hand up a bit where it doesn't feel like you have quite as much grip on the tape. So that is one thing I did like about the first version more than I liked about the second, the Gen 2. So another thing I want to point out real quick is when I got this one, it actually came in a 2-pack, which I got these from Lowe's. You can still get them in the 2-pack. You could also get these in the 2-packs as well. But since then, I think maybe like a couple months after they released these, because when they originally released the Gen 2, they released them only in the 2-pack. I actually, a couple months later, went back to Lowe's, and this is one that I got. I haven't opened yet. And as you can see, it certainly looks different than the 2-pack. The belt clip is the same. The hook is the same. I haven't used this. I've had it for a few months now. I haven't used it, but everything else seems to be the same except for the aesthetics. Like if you look at the sticker here, you see how the lettering is it's raised. On this one, it's just a flat sticker. And again, these came in the 2-pack, so you got 2 of these for like $35. And if you buy the single, it's $30. So they definitely scaled back a little bit and saved some money on the 2-pack, and that's probably why they were selling them for cheaper, is because they saved some money on some of the aesthetics. And also, you'll see that it says G2 on the blade stopper, blade release, whatever you want to call it. And then on this one, it just has the traditional, crescent logo like this did. So that is something I want to point out, so beware if you do plan on buying the 2-pack, which they do still have. It's not going to be exactly the same tape measure. All right, so after roughly about 6 months of use, and again, I try to use them as equal as possible, and even tended to use this one a little bit more to try to, put a lot more pressure on the tape's durability. So let's look at the Gen 2 and kind of see how it's held up over the 6 months. So if we look at the blade, if we get a close look, and usually these tape measures had a real big issue with bending in the first few inches. And what you can see is there's been just a tiny bit of just some nicks and stuff in the plastic coating. But if we turn it around, there doesn't look like there's much issue at all on the blade. And another big issue for durability on the old one was the back of the tape. So the back of the tape would really rub on the edges and would rub a lot of that black off of the blade. But if you look at this one, I mean, it almost looks brand new. I've actually dropped this from about 2 stories. The casing is a little dirty. There's some marks around the casing where it's been scratched and it's fell. If we look at the hook has been damaged a little where some of that diamond coating has come off. But as far as the blade goes, and I really have used this extensively. There's another nick in the coating. But for the most part, I mean, it looks pretty solid. And other than the superficial damage to the coating itself, it really has held up really well. Now let's look at the Gen 1. So the Gen 1, which is something that always happened. I would start getting bending right here. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's bent a little right here. And something else that surprised me a lot was the backside. So these always had a tendency to rub on the backside at these 2 points right here. And it really doesn't take long for the black coating to start wearing off, and your tape on the backside starts looking like that. I mean, sometimes it gets to the point to where you can hardly even see the tick marks for the measurement. Of course, there's the hook actually looks a little better on this one. Some of the diamond coating has come off. Superficially, there's less damage to this one than the other one. But overall, just the comparison of the blade durability, you can definitely tell a difference. And one of the big things with the Gen 2 is the coating on the blade is a lot thicker. And apparently it's more heavy duty, and I definitely believe that's the case. I mean, there's some rubbing marks right here, but it's definitely not, removing, the black coating or whatever it is. Now, let's take a look at comparing the Gen 1 to a newer Gen 1. So this one is slightly newer. This one I kind of stopped using because it got a pretty bad bend in the blade right there. Let me see if I can, yeah. So you can see right here, I'm not sure how that happened, but that's something that always seemed to happen with this. And as you can see, a newer one, obviously the blade looks like it's in a lot better shape, but it really didn't take long for it to bend up in this area. Now let's take a look at the Gen 2 next to the one that I bought with it that I have never used. Yeah, so this is the one that the part of the 2-pack that I got, and I have not used this one at all. And as you can tell, I mean, the blade, it looks brand new. The hook, brand new. Everything about it is, it's brand spanking new. Aside from the cosmetic issues, where some of the rubber is starting to flake and where I've dropped it and, the dirt and grime. If you were just to look at the blade itself, this pretty much looks brand new. Yeah, you can see the wear marks on the edges of the bottom of the blade, but it's not anywhere as bad as what the initial generation was. So overall, the durability of the new Gen 2 Shockforce Nite, it's light years beyond the old ones. And another thing I want to note is supposedly this has 17 feet of reach. To be honest with you, I've never gotten it to reach out to 17 feet. This one advertised, I think, was like 14 feet of standout, and I was never able to get it to stand out 14 feet. But that's just, advertising. All of these companies advertise these tapes can stand out a lot further than what they actually can in a real life scenario. But yeah, I wanted to kind of bring that to your all's attention. A couple people asked me to, do a 6-month or however long review and kind of compare the two. Another thing I do want to point out is with the first generation Nite, I definitely like the size better. Obviously, it's a smaller, smaller in the hand. You can grip it a lot easier. I would have to say, where they made the blade thicker and wider, and, they've had to add, some extra features for durability, that definitely does make up for the difference in size. I am certainly willing to sacrifice the size for, the wider, more durable tape. And even the coating, they've done a way better job on the blade coating. So overall, the Gen 2, if you're going to go with the Nite, do not get the Gen 1. in my experience with them, I love them. I love the way they looked, you know, and I wanted to love them so much, but it was very difficult too, just because of all the issues with the tape and the bending of the blade, the scratching off of the bottom of it. There were just so many issues with the durability of this tape measure. But I hope this video helps. If you enjoyed the video, a like and a subscribe would be definitely appreciated. And definitely thank you all for stopping by and sharing your time with me. I do have affiliate links in the description for KC Tool if you're interested in any type of German-made hand tools. And other than that, that's all I got for you. I'm out.